Brought to you by ExpressCare Health and Skin Center. Get in, get out, get better.
Welcome back to Healthy Living. When it comes to minor ailments like headaches and motion sickness, many people will turn to their computers and Google home-based remedies to help soothe their symptoms rather than going to the doctor. With the rising cost of healthcare, more and more people are turning to alternative remedies as a way to save money on doctor's visits as well as prescriptions. Now, last week we talked a little bit about the common cold, and tonight we've asked ExpressCare's Dr. Jitka Lom to come back and help us with some remedies for other common ailments. Thanks, Doc, for coming in.
Sure.
You look super nice tonight.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about arthritis. I know we've talked in length about that in previous segments, but maybe common home remedies I read was eating fatty fish. You know, would that really help?
Fatty fish will help because it contains omega-3 fatty acids, which you can use to help with inflammation in your body. Another thing that you could pick up in the vitamin store is some chondroitin, glucosamine chondroitin, and that's a supplement that also will help you with joint aches and pains. Of course, there's Tylenol and over-the-counter pain remedies. Sometimes people also use heat to help warm up their joints. That might help them also.
So when we talk about fatty fish, are we just, I mean, I think the most popular one I know of when we think of omega-3 is just salmon, but
yes.
I mean, what other types? And then you get into which ones have mercury or whatever.
Yeah, right. So we have salmon, tuna, and mackerel. Mackerel is a common fish that you could find here on Guam also. Right. But these ones will have somewhere between about a serving size of fish will usually have about a gram up to maybe 2 grams of the omega-3. And for health effects, you really need more than that. You need probably 3 or 4 servings a week. You need about 4 grams a day to help you with your joint aches and pains, and also to help protect your heart. So the easiest way to get that is through a supplement.
Okay, and so I've been to the vitamin store. My husband even takes some of these, and there are so many different kinds. Yeah. It's kind of overwhelming.
It is. It's very overwhelming, and you have all different combinations of kinds. But if you just keep that rule of thumb in mind, as far as about between 1 and 4 grams, every person's different. The studies that have been done, there are so many studies that have been done on different amounts, and different amounts work well for different people. This is an individual thing. So if you remember that rule of thumb, about 4 grams on average is a good amount.
So then I've seen like fish oil pills and fatty salmon pills and some kind of liver cod pills. So are these all essentially the same thing?
If you look on the label, it will tell you how many omega-3, 6, and 9 it has in it, and then you can go from there. They're not all equivalent at all. Some of them have more than others. Cod liver oil is really a very cheap and a good source of omega-3s, but doesn't taste that great.
Okay. All right. And then I wanted to ask one other question with that is, can you have too much? Can you have too much of this?
Yes, you could, particularly if you're somebody who is on blood thinners and so on. You could take too much fish oil and kind of thin yourself out too much there. So you should stick to that level, not too much more.
Okay, so another common ailment is headaches. I think a lot of people have dealt with this, and I've heard, drink a cup of Joe and it's going to help it go away. Is this true?
It is true that caffeine is a painkiller, and it also augments other painkillers. So a cup of coffee will have somewhere between, let's say, 60 and 100 milligrams of caffeine in it. And if you drink, let's say, a half a cup of coffee and you take 1 Tylenol and maybe 1 aspirin if you're not allergic to it, that is the equivalent of migraine medication, which you can buy over the counter at a much higher price. The migraine medication, if it says migraine relief on it, it usually has about 65 milligrams of caffeine. So that's just over a half a cup of coffee, and you can save a little money and help your headache too.
Okay, good to know. Yeah. So half a cup of coffee, 1 aspirin, and 1 Tylenol.
That's it.
All right. And then that's why I asked about how many cups. Now, does it have to be straight? Can you add sugar, or is that where you come against the problems that maybe if you add the sugar?
You can add a little bit of sugar. One caution is that some people drink a lot of coffee already during the day, and so it's hard for them to get that extra effect from caffeine. If you're somebody who hardly drinks coffee, that caffeine will have a nice strong effect for you. But if you're already sort of tolerant to it, you may not have as good of an effect. The other thing is that if you're in caffeine withdrawal, you will get headaches, sometimes migraines, sometimes just plain tension headaches from that withdrawal feeling. So if you're tapering, if one of your New Year's resolutions is to cut your coffee use, then go slowly, take it down by a cup a day over a few weeks.
Okay, and one last thing is, does biting a pencil really work?
That's so great. Yes, biting a pencil can help relieve a tension headache as long as you're not gripping down on the pencil too hard. You would just gently place the pencil between your teeth and not actually bite on it, just put it there in your mouth. The reason for that is that it releases the tension in your jaw muscles, which often are clenched when you're very tense and anxious about something. People grind their teeth at nighttime or just sort of chew, that's where it comes from, chewing nails, that phrase. So anyway, if you place a pencil or some other object between your teeth and just allow your jaw muscles to relax, massage them gently, also massaging your temples, you may get some pain relief.
All right, good to know. One last thing before we throw to break is queasiness. Does sipping ginger ale really work, or do you need regular ginger?
Ginger ale may or may not work. It's got a lot of bubbles in it, and that sometimes helps, but sometimes aggravates people's nausea depending on the cause. Ginger by itself in a very small amount, just in the mouth or under the tongue, can really help with nausea. That's an ancient remedy. You can also just rub ginger on your palms to allow it to be absorbed, smell the vapors. This does tend to help people with nausea.
Okay, and what about for motion sickness?
Yes, also for motion sickness. That and plenty of water in small amounts.
Okay, yeah. Good to know.
Hydration.
Thank you so much. All right, well, we will pick up our discussion on the common remedies or home remedies to common ailments when Healthy Living returns. Stay with us.